Sagittarius, welcome back for your August reading. Okay, we're going to have a look into what is happening with you guys this month. As probably all of you know, if you're wondering where some of your blocks or your triggers are coming from, just go through and have a look at the video that talks about some of the vibes coming through with the planets. Now, if you are wanting to make a booking, you can go to the link. It is directly below. Otherwise, if you need an emergency booking, you can email me on the website and I'll try and tee one up for you. Okay, so the main energy you're coming into the month with. Very financially orientated, which isn't surprising because a lot of us, because we have been dealing with our blocks and our emotions, a lot of the planets are retrograde, although Jupiter is direct. It's sort of almost like the implementation of that, the looking at how perhaps you can bring the money forward, or maybe you're just too focused on that at the moment to avoid the aspects of the emotions, because your chakra card is heart chakra, but it's in reverse. So something isn't quite balanced, and it might be that, you know, you're giving too much energy to one area than another, or somebody in your current environment is acting like this and it's triggering you due to this. It can also be a block connected to 8 years ago, perhaps. A lot of energies from the past coming back. Some of the planets have got connections to past tense events, karmic events coming about, good and bad. So, you know, if you're feeling this vibration, kind of dig to the root of where it's coming from so you can work out why you're getting triggered this month, or if you are. Now, what your passionate pursuits are this month, and maybe what your vices are going to be. So this can be anything you're applying your energy to, you know, any passionate goals that you're moving towards. Some of them you're looking at the dynamic of it. This can be in your work life, this can be in your love life. You're meditating on the situation. You're meditating on whether you are or aren't passionate. Now, again, as I've said, some of the planets are making us go up in our heads and ask, well, am I really invested in this situation? So try not to take it too personally, and try not to make cemented concrete decisions until you feel you're 100% on that, because you very well may have the blocks that you need to deal with, and come by the end of August moving through, you'll have the clarity. You'll still regardless make decisions, but it can be a better time to actually make that decision. It is a time of releasing, however. So if you feel it's well overdue and it's time to release something that you're not passionate about, go ahead and do that, you know, and then don't look at it as an ending, look at it as a new beginning. It can be that you're changing the energy that you are applying to that situation, or looking at where the faults are and the flaws are, or your mindsets and conditioning that are impacting the way it's moving forward for you. Now, it can be that you know what you don't want, and you definitely do know what you do want this month. So you'll be looking at it and saying, it's almost, I'm feeling a black and white situation going on. You're just going to say, look, I have had X amount of time to really work through this and have a very good look at it. And now I'm just looking at it and I'm feeling it's just absolutely no. And then another area, it's absolutely 100% yes. I do feel there's one area, and this could be related to romance, where some of you might be looking at an old energy and saying, oh, did I overlook that? Do I really need to go back in my memory? And it doesn't have to be to the person, but it can be the way you looked at a situation to make an assessment connected to this area. Now, in your money area, you feel you got many choices, and yes, you do. This is a time of being creative, but it's the meditation upon what to do in the money frontier. We can be very creative, although the implementation of that, it's more the planning stage of it. It's more, okay, what direction am I going to go in? Where do I want to put my energy into it? And Saturn's going to be pretty strict with you. It's going to be, well, if you want that, you're going to have to be very, very balanced, very organized, and this is the month to do the planning in that area. So if you're looking at a new career, or how to build it, or how to expand it, because Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and yes, it can mean that we put on weight, place your energy into the correct area. So if you want your piggy bank to grow, make sure you're doing it balancedly, because whatever you're going to apply your energy to, yes, there's going to be like growth in it, but also don't do it to the detriment to your health. You know, try and keep the balance. A lot of what we are learning this year is not only to have that correct foundation and apply ourselves correctly in a responsible way, but in a way that we are looking at it completely in a 360, but also where there's the give and take in the situations. You know, what energy will you have to put into it? What energy will you be getting out of it? If you can get that bigger picture in mind, it's going to help you grow within the area of business and money. There may be delays, and again, that is due to the retrograde. So instead of looking at it as it's a delay, it's really not the best time to be jumping into it. Do plan though. Do the investigation, do the groundwork, and don't feel that because that door's closing that it's a no. It's not that it's that. It's more look at a different way you can come about it, because you do have many options in this one area. And, you know, don't look at it as the door's closed. No, the door's actually open, because it's telling you, hey, hang on a minute, you're super skilled here. What can you actually do to build this area? We sort of do get to this 3D way of looking at things, and we're saying, society says I can't do this job because I don't have this criteria. Yet the experience you gain in your lifetime can be applied to many industries. It can create entrepreneurship with some of the planets. So don't try and box yourself into an environment where, because you haven't done, you know, X, Y, and Z, you can't become creative. You have an active mind and you have that ability to do that. So don't try and look at that or any of that as a block this month, or in general. Now, your health. Don't be too critical on yourself. Now, it might be a critical look at your health to say, okay, what do we need to change here? And again, it can be the vices that we are using in order to cope. It might be excessive coffee drinking, you know, or burning the candle at both ends, trying to get things done, really not having enough energy there. Pay attention to your health and listen to your body, because although you may feel you know, sometimes we do get to a stage where suddenly certain foods don't work for us anymore, and they can be telling signs that, you know, something's changed. And it's not that that's bad, but we need to be aware that if we're exerting ourselves in certain ways, i.e. we might need more water, it might be you need a bit more sleep, but pay attention to your body. And if you need to, and you're really concerned about something, have a good look at it. Really pay attention to your body. Okay, you're going to be not as harsh on yourself as well in the health front. So it might have been negative self-talk towards your expectations of yourself. And again, planetary related, a lot of us are psychoanalyzing ourselves and looking at ourselves and critiquing. We're also looking at our value systems and asking the bigger questions, you know, are my values relative right now? Or have I outgrown them? And it's because the old ways of doing things was, well, this is what I've always done, so this is what it is. But we really are rejigging and reassessing what our beliefs are. And it may be that suddenly you become vegan and you're like, I just don't like that anymore. However it relates. But the message I'm getting is, don't be so harsh on yourself. Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not expected to be perfect. You're perfectly imperfect. And imperfect is perfect. Now, okay, so money, health, work. Now, in your life, whatever you're working on, whatever you're moving towards. Now, when I say work, it doesn't have to be a job, because we've already covered money. And that has to a degree discussed the actual aspects of employment for some of you, but it doesn't have to be. It could be hobbies. Now, in your working environment, this can be what you're working towards in a sense of a goal. It can be what you want to get out of your life. Something that you're emotionally invested in or working towards or working in, there's going to be a wake-up call. Now, you're wanting to look at it from a different point of view. You're going to make some very, very strong assessments, and it's because you really have evolved. Now, this could be towards the 8th, because I am seeing 2 towers either side, similar to the representation of the Lionsgate portal, which is a very good time to manifest, might I add. So look at the way, it's almost like that person at the bottom. Things always stick out at me differently each time. You may be going through an ascension, an enlightened time, a time when you're having revelations and you're looking at it going, I've really changed. So the wake-up call can be, you were walking down a certain road, living how you were maybe 20 years ago, and suddenly you realised you had actually outgrown that way of life 20 years ago. But because of the conditioning, you just went along with it. And now you're looking at it and saying, am I fulfilled in these areas? Am I invested in these areas? What am I going to do so I can actually be truthful to myself? Because you actually can't get the best out of situations if you're not like, if you're doing it from a place of, I need to wake up in the morning, I need to go to work, you know, have lunch, come home, have dinner, brush my teeth, go to bed. Is there something in that day where you could have done something different that you feel is more politically correct or vibrationally correct for you? It could be exercise plan added to it, food fight, whatever it is for you that you feel needs changing, it's going to be highlighted and it's going to be a real wake-up call for you. It's almost like revelations. Now, the stagnation, again, on what you're working on is because you're meditating on it. You're thinking, wow, am I being blocked because I'm being punished, or am I being blocked because I need to have a bit of an aha moment? Don't look at it as a punishment. This is a blessing in disguise. You will, I feel, when you have this happen, whatever the aha moment is, it could be a tower moment in the area, you're going to be grateful. I just feel you to be very grateful, whatever this is coming about. It just feels like a whole 360, and I feel an acceptance of the energy right away. Almost like a surrender to it, and a state where you're going to meditate. It could be you get the flu. And I mean, where you got to, and then you have that time. Sometimes the universe intervenes, where your higher self is trying to talk to you, but you're busy investing in everything that your obligational system requires you to do. And then you get the flu or a cold and you're in bed. And that's when you actually are given the grace of some meditation time. So don't take it personal, but you're going to have some revelations around this area this month. Spiritually speaking, internal discord. What am I going to do? How am I going to get there? How do I do this? What do I believe? What have I lost? Picking up the pieces, delays. Why is life so hard? Again, it's not a punishment. You're just having some revelations at the moment. Now, what is blocking you is a home-related situation, but it's actually not the home. It might be the way the routine is, your schedule, how you guys kind of balance life and fun. The old you wants to come back, and it's crying out for that. It's saying, well, hey, yeah, okay, we do a 9-to-5 job, or we do a 12-hour shift. Or, you know, we're taking the kids to school, whatever that is, something needs changing, because it's just not completely balanced. I do see a family-related dynamic as well. That is, it's almost like, and this could be very separate if you're couples, external family on their side or your side, where you're thinking, I just don't get to see my friends, or I just don't get to see my family. Something of a sense of balance is coming about, but it's also almost like you've isolated yourself. And now you're looking at it saying, well, I don't want that. So why have I done that? So really think about that. What you're not seeing is justice and hope coming. So there is going to be a balance of the energy. So that's really great. But think about your emotional balance. You know, what makes you this month emotionally balanced? And don't feel guilty if you need to invest in those things. Be it you say, I'm shutting the world out for a day and I'm going to go to the beach and I'm going to have a bourbon and coke, not that I promote alcohol, or, you know, a milkshake, or whatever you want to do something that is creating emotional balance for you. Meditate, do some heart chakra work, because what you're passionate about, what you love, the give and take needs to be in balance this month. And at the moment it's feeling it's a bit skew. And that might be on another person's end, but you have the power to change that. Relationship zone, and that's for couples and singles. You personally feel in some way, this could be past tense related. Remember, in these readings this month, if you go to another site and you're tuning into the readings, because our energy in our mind is behind, because we're going back, we're going in, you can become very confused with the readings, because energy, when we collect energy as psychics and intuitives, sometimes the energy depends on the astrology of where the planets are. Now, psychologically speaking, what are we doing? We're going backwards. So you're looking back over an old energy of a time frame in your life where a situation was unjust. Now, it can be you're now drawing a conclusion that the current dynamic perhaps is starting to mirror a bit of a previous dynamic, and you're going, You're seeing the connections or the links, and you're breaking the chains. Now, when I say breaking the chains, this can be where we are coming to a realization that we can have family, what do we call it? It's almost like a family hand-me-down. And we can look at it and we can draw sometimes a feeling or affair connected to it, but then it can co-create. Then it can just go on through generational, that's it, generational. So it may be an emotion connected to that, has been suppressed, and you're visually experiencing it now, not intentionally. It can be because it's drawing upon the old to trigger in the 3D for you to address that area. So it's not a permanent energy for all of you. It's more, an old memory coming up and a vibration of you looking at it thinking, well, that's not quite how I pictured this dynamic in a relationship, be it you're with them or not. So you're assessing that criteria. It could be you're looking at a person from the past, and that can be for couples and singles, because, hey, we're all going backwards. And don't feel guilty about that. Every person collectively this month, it's not, oh, I'm thinking backwards, so, I'm going to do something wrong. It's physically and spiritually, we are doing that because we are getting the folders out of our, the skeletons out of our closet, and we're having a deep look at them, how it's shaped our character, how it's shaped our belief systems, and this can be in every area of our life, so that we can look at dynamics and apply energy correctly to who we think we are today. It can be that you are getting triggers about previous relationships coming up. Now, your partner or the person you're thinking of. For those of you who this is a past tense person, it may have been that they didn't choose you and they went to somebody else, and it was, left, right, and they were somewhere else. In a relationship, again, this can be a past tense energy. And it can be that they're handling too many things. It could be that they're juggling work and the hours, and your relationship is becoming difficult because you're feeling that this isn't fair and there's conflict connected to it, and they're juggling things. It could be you're in your head, so they're trying to handle things while you're up here. But the energy in between you is third party. Now, remember the energy I was talking about. This can be a trigger point and a fear-based situation from your past. You've got to be careful reading the readings this month, because most of the mind is coming up from the past. If this was a past tense energy, it can be trigger points coming up in miscommunication and conversation, because we are getting super triggered. It can be superstitions and paranoia coming through, where you're wondering, well, what's this person doing? Why is this happening? And it can be it can be where you're dealing with co-parenting related issues, where the dynamics and the conflict is actually causing an issue within the relationship or the connection of the person you're waiting for. Some of you might have felt kind of where you're saying, hey, I'm over here, yet all these dynamics are playing out and you feel forgotten. So you will be addressing that energy as well. And that can be your partnered energy too, because this is a mirroring going on. Be it you're in the relationship or you're not, this is the in-between energy. So both of you may be reflecting why things came about, how it emotionally made you feel, and really asking, what, where, why, how, to understand and process that information like a computer. Now, you're also, both of you, looking at where you were responsible and where you weren't. And again, I'll say it, the planets are asking us, where are we willing and committed to take the responsibility? What do we feel we can apply to it now so that we can make this situation better? What do we need to release so we can make this situation better? Are we committed to this? Can we put the energy into it? These are the questions you're going to ask this month. So, like I said, I want you guys to be careful about, the trigger points you're going to get this month. We have been in a very heavy energy for, probably from February onwards. And everyone is getting super tired. You're going to go from feeling very fatigued to all of a sudden you're on fire and you're ready to move. And then you're going to get tired again. Pace yourself with the energy. Look after yourself. Don't get triggered. Take your power back. Look after yourselves to a point where you're just concerned what information is relevant and what's not. Okay? Love and light, guys. Bye.